First, I want to thank you for all the work you put in over the past year on the system redesign and everything else to try and help the PASSHE system. I want to continue on the system redesign, specifically to talk about some of the return on investment that the system redesign will give. Not only, I think it's important to focus not only on what it will give back to the state system, but our overall economy. And I think, for those of us who are fortunate enough to have a state system school in our communities, and as you know, I have IUP, you see the impact of what's been happening with the downturn in enrollment directly in our local communities. Just for example, 5,000 students. That's roughly what we've lost over the past 5 or 6 years in Indiana. Imagine the impact of 5,000 fewer people in your community. So I think that your success is our success, and unfortunately your failure is going to be the failure of a lot of our small towns and communities that rely on the state system. So with the $20 million that you're asking to reboot the state system, you mentioned some of the return on investment in the between $260 million, you said. Can you expound on that and what that would mean?
Yeah, so in terms of efficiency savings, we're looking at 57 to 65 million annual, 260 to 280 million cumulative over a 5-year period. You can break that down into, so I have it broken down into savings that result from shared services, savings that result from aligning our costs with our revenues, which are big because they're, in effect, salary savings as we get smaller to meet our new enrollments. There's a cumulative salary savings of worth $200 million over the next 5 years. And then there's savings that result from demolition of underutilized buildings. So the cumulative effect is significant over the next 5 years. I think the important thing, though, it is important to go into system redesign thinking about cost and cost efficiencies. I think it's really also, it's even more important, at least in my view, to think about the kind of enhancement of capability. So I'm just going to give you maybe a few examples of the kinds of things we can do if we build an infrastructure which enables us to share in our academic programming. So one thing, and you've all heard stories about the students who needs a course to graduate and can't somehow get in or find that course, right? That is unacceptable in a university which has 96,000 students. There needs to be a course somewhere that student should be able to take. So that's an obvious example. Another example which I'm pretty compelled by is in universities which are experiencing significant enrollment decline. At some point, it becomes imperative to contract the academic program, to begin to make cuts in the available the scope of the available programming. And of course, what happens is that there's a danger that then that exacerbates the enrollment decline, right? So we have an opportunity in our system to ensure that universities which are beginning to emerge at a smaller size can still offer the full breadth of educational programming that's available anywhere in the system by sharing with one another. So that's another critical example. Another one, and then I'll stop, for the communities in particular, is that, if I'm in a healthcare, if I'm a physician assistance program at any one of the universities that have them, I think we have 3 or maybe 4, I don't just need physician assistants who work in geriatrics. My community needs the full range of specialties in physician assistants. But a university of my size may not be able to hire faculty and staff to support the full range of physician assistantships that my community actually needs. By working together, by sharing our programs, by enabling our students to take courses and programs across our system, we can ensure that any physician assistantship program offers the full range of specialties that community will require. So there are significant capability enhancements which return to our ability to deliver to the state the workforce that it needs, and to our students the education they need at a price they can afford.
So you're requesting $20 million over the next 5 years for $100 million.
It is 20 million. That would be, we haven't yet profiled the $100 million, but that's not an unlikely scenario. Yeah. So let me just gloss on that. So the aim is to only request money we believe that we can spend in the following year. Okay. So the 20 million was, this is what we need, this is the prioritization that we need it in, what realistically can we accomplish? And I want to be very realistic because I expect that we will and should be held accountable for anything we do with those funds.
Hypothetically, what happens if you don't get the money?
If, so the 2%, which is the operating increase to the operating budget is absolutely critical to maintaining our commitment to student affordability. So to me, and this is obviously a board-level decision, but my advice to the board would be do everything you can to maintain our commitment to student affordability. And that if we need to postpone system redesign, we will basically do the best we can, but ultimately have to take another, but ultimately likely need to adjust our course.
Well, thank you for that. And as I said earlier, your success is our success, and your failure will be a failure for Pennsylvania. So we need to make sure you're successful. Thank you.